In this episode of Flea Market Rescue, we'll take this ugly looking hutch and we'll turn it into a beautiful showpiece by sanding, fixing what we need to fix, applying a primer, and adding a wash. We'll finish using some wax and make this look like something out of Restoration Hardware. So you ready? Let's do this. So I seen this hutch on Facebook Marketplace. It was $70 and I could see beyond the hunter's green paint and the purple drawer. I just knew this could be beautiful. So I brought it home and then I started to sand it. You just want to get all that gloss off of there and just kind of rough it up. This is going to ensure that your paint sticks well. On my way to pick this up, the lady texted me and told me that they went to move it and the crown molding piece came completely off. I told her it probably wouldn't be a problem. I know I could fix it. So we're just adding a little wood glue to this and then we're going to secure it with some nails from the nail gun. Okay, so now that we have that all full of glue, we're going to go ahead and take this top part of the crown molding and place it on top of that. I'm just trying to push down these sides here. Okay, so that's looking good. So we're going to go ahead and take our nail gun and we're just going to secure this in place. Once we were done with that, it was time to apply the primer. This is a paint and primer that I had left over from another project. The color is natural gray. I know it looks white, but it really is like a pale gray. You just want to do nice even coats, cover the whole thing, and then that way when we do our chalk paint wash, we'll be assured that the paint's going to stick well because we used a primer. It's looking better already. Will you look at that? That is a big difference already. Okay, now we're moving on to the bottom part of the hutch, the table part. I'm just going over this trying to cover up all that green with this paint primer. Onto the legs, you just want to get into all those grooves. We don't want to see any of that green. Okay, now we have the back of our shelf done, and now we have the legs on this table done. It's at this point that we have to decide, do we want to keep this like natural and maybe put some stain on it, or should we paint it? For me, I personally want to paint it because I want one cohesive piece, but for you, if you were to get a piece like that, you could always stain this top. I see that done a lot. People do that and it looks nice, but for me, I just think that painting this would make it look better. So that's what we're going to do. When you're painting the top, you're going to just want to keep going back and forth with your brush. Don't go this way and that way. You don't want that. You want your brush strokes going all one way. So just keep on taking your brush and going back and forth with it. I know, I live in this cheetah robe, you guys. I'm really sorry, but it's just so comfortable to wear while I'm doing one of these projects. Okay, so we're just finishing up the top here and then we're going to let all that dry. While that's drying, we need to work on this purple drawer here. We're going to quickly paint the inside of this and then we'll go ahead and paint the outside. Okay, we are finished and we're going to let all that dry and then we're going to move on to the fun part, the faux finish. Okay, so I have this Sloan chalk paint in Old Ochre. We're going to use this paint and dip it into water, and then we're going to go ahead and do a wash all over this tabletop. And we're going to go ahead and do it in horizontal strokes. We're just trying to layer this table with some color. It doesn't have to be completely covered. We're just doing a wash just across it, and you'll see some of that gray shining through. Looks like I have a little glob of paint there. You got to be careful with that. You don't want that to dry onto your paint finish. I'm just going back in with a wet brush with some of that wash on it, and I'm just making sure that all the lines continuously go back and forth. You're going to do that on all the pieces. You're going to dip your brush into the paint, dip it into a little water, and then you're just going to keep going back and forth, covering it so that it has some layering to it. You're going to do the back of the hutch going up and down in that kind of pattern. You're going to do the base of the table, you're going to do the legs in this. And you're going to finish with the drawer. And there you go. That's what it should look like. It should have a lot of nice layering to it. Now we're going to use Sloan's Coco. We're going to do the same thing what we did with the other paint. We're going to do a wash with it, and this is going to turn this into like a wood grain look. I didn't have enough water, so it left paint splotches. If that ever happens, all you have to do is just add a little more water and just go over that, and it will smooth right out. Just repeat the process on all your other pieces. I'm just going back and forth on this drawer and just kind of making that look like a wood grain pattern as well. I'm just going in there a little heavy-handed with the paint, and then I'm just going to water it down a little bit. I just kind of want to get in those nooks and crannies to really, make these legs stand out. Now I'm starting to work on the side, and do you see all these drips? You don't want that. You want to keep taking your brush over and over until that water kind of dissipates. You want to continue by finishing up that hutch so that we can move on to the wax, which is really my favorite part. Just keep going back and forth with that wash, and as you can see, it's starting to look like a wood grain pattern. I'm just finishing up the back part of the hutch, just going in an up and down motion. And now I'm just finishing up the outside of the hutch. I used this Coco wash on the cabinets that we have in our little cottage, and it came out gorgeous. It's really bright in there, so you can't really see the detail as much, but I did that over in antique white, the Coco wash. Here's the other side of the cabinets where you can actually tell what it looks like. I'll put a link above just in case you want to watch that whole cottage kitchen remodel. It's a major transformation. Okay, now back to our project. So we've finished the whole Coco process, and now we're going to move on to the dark wax. This dark wax is by Amy Howard, but you can use any dark wax. Now I'm just rubbing on a little of that dark wax onto our top. Now as you can see, it's looking a little splotchy, so what I do is I take a little clear wax, and then that helps blend it into the furniture piece. So you're going to just continue to do that. You're going to go ahead and dip it in some dark wax and then smooth it with the clear wax. Do you see how rich in color that looks? So once we're finished with all the dark wax, we're going to move on to the Wise Owl black wax. You're going to dip your brush into the black wax, and then you're going to go in horizontal patterns and really scrub that into the tabletop. Then you're going to take some clear wax and then blend that in. Now I'm doing the same process with the drawer. I'm putting the dark wax on, then I'm using some of the clear wax to go ahead and blend that in, and then I'm taking the black wax and rubbing that in and blending that. If you don't think it's dark enough, you can always add a little more black wax or dark wax. It's completely up to you. I'm working on the side right now, and it's in direct sunlight, so you're really getting a good shot of it. I'm just finishing up on the dark wax. I'm trying to blend that in. Now I'm using the black wax, and I'm going to blend that in. The legs have a lot of detail, so you really want to get in there with that dark wax and then the black wax. And then I'm going to show you a close-up of what these legs look like. I can't even believe it. They're gorgeous. They look like something out of Restoration Hardware. So that's what you can do with a layered effect. Here's the front, and that's out of direct sunlight. See all the rich tones? It's hard to believe that this was Hunter's green. So I'm just going to finish up this hutch, and then we're going to put the two pieces together. Isn't that gorgeous? I staged some things on the hutch, and all those items are from the thrift store or a flea market, so you can definitely decorate on a budget. And I think this hutch came out absolutely beautiful. I still have to put knobs on, but I'm still debating which ones I want. I don't even know if I want to sell it yet. It might go in my cottage, but I paid $70 for it, and if I did want to sell it, I probably could sell it for $375 to $450. If you like this episode of Flea Market Rescue and you want to see more episodes like this, make sure to subscribe to my channel and ring the bell. I'm Kelly Sherry, and this has been Flea Market Rescue.